Mayweather Promotions Leonard Ellerbe ethers ESPN's Dan Rayfield over a Mayweather-Mcgregor article. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. And it's going down. We working August 26th, Mayweather versus McGregor. Thank you for the super chats, the donations, the Patreon patrons. We getting this working. And like it or not, this is the next fight. Floyd's coming out of retirement. Been retired about 2 years, roughly. And that was since the Andre Berto victory. And he's fighting Conor McGregor. They just announced the press tour, which I'll get to on the back side of this video. But I want to respond to some interactions I've seen on social media, on Twitter, regarding ESPN's Dan Rafael and Mayweather Promotions Leonard Ellerbe. Now, Dan Rafael, these are verified accounts. You'll see the blue check marks when you see the screenshot. And he says, hashtag Canelo GGG versus Mayweather-Mcgregor, real fight versus freak show, my column, right? Obviously, that didn't sit too well with Mayweather Promotions' Leonard Ellerbe, who responded. And he said, I'll assume there's no need to accommodate you for our event, right? Like, okay, I mean, if it's a freak show, then there's no reason for you to get credentialed. Point blank, period. And then somebody says, in Dan's defense, the whole article was about the craziness that surrounds it. And Ellerbe says, LOL, yeah, okay. He has an opinion just like you do. He's been a hater, and it's okay, but I meant what I said. So, I don't know. I don't know if they are going to allow ESPN to come, or allow Dan Rafael to come based on this. This happened maybe about a week ago. I'm just a little bit late making the video, but I want to talk about it because I feel Leonard Ellerbe, you know what I mean? In the sense of he's trying to put together an event. Everybody's all in, UFC's in, it's a Showtime event, Mayweather Promotions, and I think it's a big event. And there's a lot of hypocrisy, and that's where I come in, new media, right? And you can't suppress the message because we getting too strong. New media, people, they want something different in boxing. And what I mean by that is they want the truth. They want to see good fights. They want to see entertainment. They want all of the above. What they don't want is what you've been getting brainwashed and spoon-fed. Things like HBO saying Lomachenko is #1 pound for pound. Great fighter. I take nothing away from him. You could check my track record. Type in Boxingego Lomachenko, every single video I made about that man. And I always gave him props for his skill. But you have agendas. You have propaganda where it's just like Fox News. The person that they're clearly siding with, they can do no wrong. And they're in boxing, you have like HBO, ESPN, they're making radical statements, but they can't really back it up. I just told you, Max Kellerman, I came up into the game. This is not to throw shade. I don't have to hate. I make good money. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I work for myself. I wake up when I want. I don't have no battery in my back, right? I don't have to hate. Max Kellerman was a person who I came in the game respecting for his boxing knowledge. When other people like maybe Jim Lampley were putting down guys like Rigondeaux for his style and pure boxing, Lampley would say these things, but Max Kellerman would be like, you know what, Rigondeaux, he's a top talent. And it looks like Donaire might not want to fight him yet because it's a high risk, low reward, this and that. So I really respect Max Kellerman. But lately, he's been more and more seeming like a company man, right? In terms of somebody, just like the reality shows. You guys watch reality shows, for those that watch Love and Hip Hop. Some of that stuff is scripted, or the producers of the show kind of get in their ear and say, even like, it could be a situation, but say it's this big, real small, and then the producers of the show will tell them to overreact, or like, hey, get really mad on camera because they want ratings and stuff like that. So that's what it is. And I've noticed it a lot with ESPN and also HBO. I'm not saying Showtime's perfect, but when I call fights and I listen to Paulie Malignaggi and Al Bernstein, it doesn't sound like they're in love and obsessed with fighters. If a fighter is doing good, like let's say Broner was the star on Showtime and he fought Maidana. Broner was the favorite, but Paulie Malignaggi, as he's calling the fight, he's telling you the mistakes Broner's making. He didn't just say because Broner was one of the network's biggest stars, Broner's having a flawless performance. He was like, oh, I see why Maidana kept jabbing to the body, going to the body, because he was trying to set him up, and da-da-da, and Broner did this and underestimated. Broner, he's hurt, you know what I mean? It doesn't sound like he's pushing an agenda, you know what I mean? So I feel Leonard Ellerbe, because there's a lot of fakeness, a lot of snakes in this boxing game. And I know, because I'm at the events, I see it, I hear people, I see what people say next to me. If you like Mayweather-Mcgregor, fine. If you don't like it, that's fine too. But don't watch it. Why are you trying to siphon off of it? Why are you making videos about it? Why don't you demonetize any video about Mayweather-Mcgregor? Don't get paid off of it. Don't make articles about it. If you don't like it, stand for something. Put your foot down and say, this is not my cup of tea. This is a circus. It's a freak show. Woom-de-woom, and go on with your life. But that's not what they want to do. They want to inadvertently shit on the fight and capitalize off it at the same time, because they know it's a trending topic. They know fans are going to buy it. They know people are invested. That's why you have Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya, and different people speaking out, because they feel it's a threat, right? If you don't feel threatened, then there's probably less reason for you to speak out against it and tell people. Oscar De La Hoya wrote a whole long dissertation on his Facebook. I don't know if he wrote it personally or someone wrote it and he just kind of told them their thoughts, like people do with like books. They have someone kind of interpret and authors write it. But whatever, he wrote this long passage telling and begging fans not to buy Mayweather-Mcgregor. You shouldn't have to do that. If it's such a shitty fight, it's gonna flop on his own. You don't need to do that. You know what I mean? And you just come across as salty. So when it comes to a lot of the people in the media, I understand what Leonard Ellerbe, because these guys don't always respond to it, but they get wind of what people are saying. Like, I talked to Andre Ward. He's not just on social media. He tunes out some of the stuff, but he sees that people don't want him to win. He sees that there's negativity in videos and stuff, or he at least hears about it. And same thing with Mayweather. You know the usual suspects. It's very easy. When I talk boxing, I give people a fair shake. Notice the people that others have said, oh, you hate this person, Ego. I can tell you, I can point you to videos where I said favorable things about them. Like, some people even said, oh, you hate Canelo. I got videos where I'm giving Canelo mad props on a performance or for taking a fight or saying I like his style. But those usual suspects that I'm talking about, when it comes to the fighters we know they hate, like Mayweather, Ward, or whatever, you don't see that. You don't see anything good. It always comes with stipulations. It always comes with the clause. And then what's worse about it is they don't just outright come out. They try to tuck their tail and hide behind their statements like, oh, I don't have anything against Floyd. You know what I mean? When someone checks them, like Leonard Ellerbe did with Dan Rafael. Now all of a sudden you want to play victim. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you called put it this way. The article is called Great Fight versus a Freak Show. You know what I mean? And then people get mad at, like, oh, YouTube channels have clickbait and stuff like that. One says the title is Real Fight versus Freak Show. So even if in your article you're doing whatever the guy in the comment section said you're doing, look how you titled it like that on purpose. So you're basically saying this is a real fight, and that's a compare and contrast. I was efficient when it comes to English. I always got great grades in English courses in college, in high school, middle school, any school, right? So we could tell what you're doing, and you wrote it like that. You wrote that headliner to try to captivate people. And even if you're saying and like watering it down in the subject, that's your kicker. That's what you're using to grab the attention. So you're obviously trying to open up the dialogue saying, hey, this is Canelo versus Golovkin is a real fight versus a freak show. Why does it have to be a freak show? You know what I mean? Why didn't you just say Canelo Golovkin versus Mayweather-Mcgregor? Because you want those headlines. Dan Rafael, he knows what he's doing, and he writes it. I told you guys that I've seen all the tricks. Like, for example, Andre Ward, let's say he fights Sullivan Barrera and it does over 1 million. They'll tell you the average number of viewership. But then let's say Golovkin fights whoever, Daniel Jacobs, and they'll tell you the peak number in the title, because as you know, ESPN, they love Golovkin. HBO, they love Golovkin, and it's almost fanboyism. So they'll tell you the highest number, so that's the thing you see first in the title. Like, damn, Golovkin peaked at this and this. But then when it comes to Ward, you tell the average, you know what I mean? And that's what I noticed. People always want to point out what they perceive as the low moments for certain fighters. Like, let's say Mayweather versus Berto. They're like, oh, he fought Berto and it did these numbers. But why don't you talk about how in the same year Mayweather fought Pacquiao, schooled him easy, and broke all the records? You know what I mean? Of course, you're going to highlight, oh, look at Mayweather's numbers. Look at Mayweather versus Berto. You know why? Because you perceive that as a low point. So it's like you're purposely omitting what he did earlier in the year and the numbers he generated. It didn't matter. You think Mayweather cared about finishing his contract and the numbers that Berto did when he just broke every single record and got $300-400 million to fight Pacquiao and then pretty much won easily? You know what I'm saying? But again, you guys look at the signs and see what people highlight and what they don't. Calling it a freak show, and now you might not get credentialed to this freak show. So like I said, tell the truth. I told y'all in January, it's not going to be a good year for you. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You got to be honest with this game. I told you from the jump, I will make money off of Mayweather-Mcgregor. Full disclosure. I have no problem talking about the fight. I will be entertained by the fight most likely if the two participants of the main event are like how they have been in the past. I think I'll get my money's worth, because I think it's going to be a fun ride. They are doing the press tour and stuff like that. I'm not shying away from that, but you have a lot of fakeness, a lot of people who are going to say this is the worst fight and Mayweather's legacy is ruined and things like that. But Pacquiao losing to a Jeff Horn, or even fighting Jeff Horn, a guy we don't even know, at least everybody, majority of fans, if you watch combat fighting sports, you know Mayweather and McGregor. Not everyone knew Jeff Horn. I talked to professional fighters that didn't even know Jeff Horn. They said, who? Or when Canelo fought Liam Smith, right? Or Cotto fighting Kamagai. Kamagai's not a household name, and those were title fights. All of them were title fights. To my knowledge, Mayweather-McGregor is not for no official title, because Conor McGregor's not going to stick around in boxing, especially after what Floyd does to him, most likely. You know what I mean? And you know what you're getting with the fight. See if Father Time caught up with Floyd. See if Conor can trouble Floyd, possibly knock him out because Floyd's 40. See if Floyd puts on a masterful boxing performance, etc. You know what I mean? Entertainment value, those types of things. But you could tell, and I posed this in a previous video, and still people omit and don't respond to this aspect. How come Bernard Hopkins, De La Hoya, Golden Boy, and a lot of fans, there's another boxing fight on the same night as Mayweather-McGregor, right? And I really feel like there's more interest and more focus on Mayweather-McGregor, how shitty it is, than those boxing pugilists and diehard boxing only people talking about Cotto versus Kamagai. So ride for your cause. Why don't you ride for your cause? If you're boxing only and you don't have time for the bullshit fights and the freak shows, don't make no videos about it. Make more videos about Cotto Kamagai, because that's a pure boxing fight by Golden Boy, right? And it's for a title. So that's what you'll notice. You'll notice the trend is they're not making a ton of Cotto versus Kamagai videos promoting. That's how I know it's fake. You're not really about what you say. Because if you were, then if you were just like, hey, this is for the love of boxing only, it's not about money, it's about what grows the sport of boxing, what is right for the sport of boxing, then why wouldn't you help boost up and promote the Cotto versus Kamagai fight over the hybrid boxing meets UFC MMA fight? You're talking more about Mayweather-McGregor than you are talking about the fight we know is all boxing. All boxers on that card. To my knowledge, there is no, on the undercard or anything, there's no boxer versus a UFC guy on that card. But you're not talking about that. So again, you want to capitalize and make money and write articles and make videos and leave comments talking about how bad it is. Okay, redirect your focus to what should be important to you. That's what you're saying is important to you. It's just like Floyd with the domestic violence. People act like, Oh, Floyd, he's a piece of shit. He's a woman beater, baby. Yeah, you guys like this guy? Woman beater? Right? What have you done for domestic violence causes? You're not going into any outreach programs or speaking out, or when Jim Lampley has a domestic violence case and charge, you're not talking about Lampley saying, hey, I can't stand that Lampley guy because he was involved in this and I think he put hands on that girl. You know what I'm saying? So be about what you say you're about, right? If domestic violence really grinds your gears, then it should be across the board, right? If you are all boxing and you don't have time for freak shows and circus fights and horrible fights, then focus on Canelo and Golovkin. And truth be told, at the moment, I've probably heard more buzz and seen more posts via social media, and this is what's scaring people, for Canelo versus Mayweather. And it's like kind of like the Canelo versus Golovkin buzz has died down. Don't get me wrong, me, I'm a boxing fan. I'm thoroughly looking forward to September 16th. Thoroughly. But I'm just talking about by and large. I see a lot of people. Floyd was at 10 Goose and Gym, and people are making videos and talking about what weight Floyd's at, or how Floyd looked, and he looked slow. Or I did the video about Floyd on the double end bag, or Conor McGregor was moving around. He posted a clip of it and pictures. I see more people making videos talking about that than I see talking about Canelo and Golovkin. So again, if that's your real standpoint, then don't focus on the other stuff. Focus on what you say is important to you, but that's not what they want to do. They want to have their cake and eat it too. So I understand Leonard Ellerbe. And like I said, there's usual suspects in this game. There's people who every time they speak on certain fighters, it's always bad. Rigondeaux's boring. Ward, he has low ticket sales versus Kovalev. How is that Ward's fault only? Kovalev, people said he didn't lose the first fight. Some of y'all. So why is it all dependent on Ward? Because he's the champion? It's a two-man party. You know what I mean? And people like, haha, Ward has low sales. How is it just one person's duty? You know what I mean? And truth be told, nobody told HBO to make 1 million pay-per-views in the last few years. That I'm sure oversaturating the market has had an impact in that. Like Crawford Postal, good, meaningful fight for 140. But, I mean, who really was out there saying, hey, that has to be a pay-per-view event? I'm ready to pay top dollar. So that's partly HBO's fault, because they kind of burnt consumers out. So people want to save for the Canelo Golovkin big fights, or the fights like Mayweather-Mcgregor. You know what I mean? People aren't really, they like Golovkin and Jacobs, but the numbers showed you there wasn't a huge pay-per-view viewership and the amount of people buying it, because there's other options to get those fights. So I mean, it's just funny in this boxing game. But new media, man, tell the truth. You guys got to tell the truth in this game. And I'm going to keep pointing out these indiscrepancies and these double standards in boxing, because that's what people want to hear. People want it's done. It's done for all that dumb stuff where people say, oh, I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong with Mayweather-Mcgregor. But why do you even have to do that? Tell us everything that's right with Canelo Golovkin or Cotto Kamagai. If you're the boxing person, why venture off into that? You know what I mean? But again, people want to have their cake. They want to eat it too. They hate Floyd, but they want to get credentialed to his events because they know they're some of the hottest events. And I really firmly believe Mayweather versus McGregor has the ability, I don't know for sure, but I think that it definitely has a strong chance to outsell and do better numbers than Canelo Golovkin, because Canelo is purely an A side and it's a great fight, but Golovkin's numbers and viewership is nowhere near what Conor's and Floyd is. And the proof is in the pudding. Name a Golovkin fight on pay-per-view, he has 2 of them, that did over 1 million. I can name several that Floyd has a ton of million plus, and it punctuates with Mayweather-Pacquiao that did like 4 million plus homes, right? But even besides that, the Hattons, the Mosleys, the Cottos, those were doing like 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 mil. Conor's done that with Nate Diaz, 1.5, 1.6. Even his fight with Chad Mendez, that was the main event. I think that did over 1 million too, off the top of my head. Golovkin hasn't produced those types of pay-per-view numbers. In fact, both of his pay-per-view outings have been under 200,000, right? Canelo has the one with Floyd, and he came damn close versus Cotto, and he's done higher than Golovkin, like 300 to 475,000, depending on what fight. Angulo, Lara, Smith, and all that, Khan. But it's just, and that's what's really threatening people. And they don't want Floyd because they don't like Floyd. A lot of people don't want to see him rob the bank, most likely be the guy that they like, and probably dominate him. And that's what the real beef is. I told you guys before. Do you think people that hate Mayweather-Mcgregor and say this is bad for boxing and the worst thing for boxing is circus, freak show, do you think they would be mad if Floyd was getting his ass up in that octagon? No, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care that Floyd has the potential to lose because that's Conor's arena. They would just be happy because they want to see it. And they, oh yeah, Floyd's gonna get hit with them little UFC gloves and he doesn't know how to defend against a rear naked choke and things like. They'd be happy. Just like when Maidana had those gloves that were potentially tampered with. I seen it. I seen in the comments say, oh, you're a pussy. Why don't you just fight Maidana no matter what gloves? Let him wear any glove. Because you don't care. You want him to lose. Just like Pacquiao. Mayweather kind of alluded to Pacquiao not being on an even playing field back in the day. Didn't want to do a drug test. People said, oh, well, even if he's on PEDs, even if he's on something, which hasn't been proven, but they said even if he is, fight him anyway. We know what time it is. We know the game. But like I said, it's a bad year for a lot of you casuals. And you'll see it more and more because more and more people want the truth and people want to see facts. And it's no longer about just saying the stuff. It's about proving. And every single time, not every single time, but most often, when people say these radical things, they always look crazy in the end. Max Kellerman talking about, hey, you know what? I think Pacquiao, if he were to rematch Floyd, he has a very good chance to knock him out. And Pacquiao can't even get past Jeff Horn. Do you really believe that? It just shoots down your credibility. People, oh, no one wants to watch Mayweather-Mcgregor, but I guarantee you it's going to do numbers. So what are you going to say? Floyd fought Maidana. Oh, this is bullshit. And then the second fight did better than the first in terms of pay-per-view buys. So I thought no one wanted to watch it. Every single time you guys come up short. I don't even see how some of y'all have any credibility. Mayweather versus Berto. This is terrible. Golovkin, he's Mexican style. He's the true fighter. But Golovkin still to this day has not sold a Mayweather-Berto amount of pay-per-view buys on any of his pay-per-view outings. So again, I'm not worried about it. We're not worried about it. Thank you for the super chats, the Patreon patrons. The truth always comes out. We just sit back and deliver the information and keep it pushing. So I feel where Leonard Ellerbe is coming. You know what I mean? Dan Rayfield, he goes out of his way, as far as I'm concerned, to shit on certain fighters. Rigondeaux, oh, he's boring. I'm gonna watch Rigondeaux tapes to put me to sleep. Or Ward versus Brand, that was the worst fight in HBO's history. Like, really, bruh? That was the worst fight HBO's ever aired in all the years they've aired boxing. And you're like, this was the biggest sewage. Why you don't say that for Pacquiao Algieri? You know what I mean? That fight, what was that? That was what we all expected. You know what I mean? Crazy. But like I said, we're not worried about it. Truth always comes out. That is the latest. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video. Oh, actually, before we get into that, they are doing the press tour. I almost forgot going off. Mayweather press tour is open to the public Monday through Friday, and I like this move because they need to hit as many stops as they can before they finish out their training camps. Monday, they're going to be at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, July 10th. Tuesday, the Toyota Center in Houston, July 11th. Wednesday, July 12th, they're going to be in Canada, Toronto, Air Canada Center. Thursday, July 13th, New York, Barclays Center. And then it punctuates in the UK. Friday, July 14th in London. The venues to be announced. I heard they're trying to get Wembley. I don't know. But that is the press tour information. Like I said, if you like the fight, support it. If you don't, then don't. You don't need to make them. We heard you loud and clear the first time. You don't have to make a million videos. You don't have to constantly bring it up. You don't have to put Mayweather-Mcgregor, either of their names in your titles. You don't have to write a million articles. You don't have to use YouTube tags that say Mayweather-Mcgregor. Don't do none of that. Focus on Kodo Kamagai. That's the fight. That's the pure boxing fight. Focus on Canelo, Triple G. Boxer versus boxer. That's what you like, right? That's what you said. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video. Like the video as always. hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.